Watching Worldview 2, a Brannon House television network.
The Tamara Scott Show. Tamara has served as the state director for one of America's largest pro-life, pro-family public policy organizations. In 2007, Tamara was named one of America's top 10 most influential kingmakers by the Religion News Association. Tamara has spent years proclaiming and defending the values of a Christian worldview that is the foundation of our constitutional republic. And now, here is your host, Tamara Scott.
Everybody, welcome. I am Tamara Scott. This is the Tamara Scott Show, where we help you live God's Word in today's world when the headlines hit home. What a weekend it has been for headlines. We've had some great guests already. We're just on Tuesday, but we so appreciate the guests that join us and give us thoughtful analysis on what is taking place. And so today, no different. We're just honored to have, we will have Nicole Jancizian. You remember Nicole Jancizian? You can go to nickjan.com. Follow her. She puts live updates on Facebook quite often. And being from Israel, inside Israel, feet on the ground in Jerusalem, she gets the news and gets it to us sometimes before we even get it on the internet or the mainstream media for sure. She was the first one that alerted me to a American ejecting out of their jet last week, and now we're just now getting some of the news stories on that. In fact, I should have searched for one of those and put them on today so we could have discussed it. But she put it out there, and I hadn't had it verified yet, though I trust her totally. I didn't see a story on it for about 24 hours. So she was first with us. So if you want the action first, it's coming from her live. She puts updates when she can. Sometimes they're headed on the way to the bomb shelter. Sometimes they're doing an activity, but she puts it out there as she can on nickjan.com. Joining me the second part of the show will be Joe Connors. Joe Connors. I know yesterday I mentioned Frank Gaffney. We'll look forward to having Frank next week. He had something come up that I think he needs to attend to. I think you'll understand why next week as well. Crucial activity happening, and he is on the front line trying to make a difference in our states right here, protecting us from Islam. It's so frustrating for me. As I sat in church Sunday, I was so frustrated because I didn't feel like we addressed it properly. And two, I'm seeing something come across that they were, I'll have to look it up and see if I can find it. They were legalizing animal sacrifice in one of the cities here in America. And it's most likely due to the Muslim population. I don't care who wants it. I'm telling you, this should not be coming through our city councils. And so while we have military men and women risking their lives, and thankfully that mission was so incredibly successful, we lost 3, which is absolutely tragic. Absolutely tragic. We will not overlook it. And at the same time, that is the 3 is amazing that we accomplished all that we did without so much more carnage and loss. Hats off to our military and to those families. We so hurt with you. We will keep you in our prayers. And we also know that your families were brave and courageous, and they signed up knowing that it was a check they were writing with their blood, not knowing the total amount. And so our hearts do go out to you. We are so thankful for the courageous men and women who do sign up knowing the cost. And we celebrate with the Lord's covering and protection that was such a minimal, it's a maximal to any family member, but that it wasn't such a larger number. When we look back at other actions and operations and the precision stealth operation this one was. We'll talk with Frank about that possibly next week. For now, Nicole Jancizian, thank you for joining me on the Tamara Scott Show. And we have Joe Connors, I think, in the studio joining us shortly. So thank you, Nicole. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Good to be here. Glad I'm here.
Glad you're here, right? Just glad I'm here, period, right? I mean, we're watching and our folks are a little anxious, but you're there dodging. You're there heading to bomb shelters. One individual said they went to the bomb shelter at 2, at 3, and at 6 in the middle of the night. How are you doing, Nicole?
Well, I have to say, as far as living in a war zone, that we in Jerusalem are probably the most privileged, if I could use that word, just because, first of all, Jerusalem is usually traditionally the least under attack of all of Israel. Like for instance, right now, just as I was getting on this call, I'm seeing alerts for the Tel Aviv area, also in the north all day. It's there's been rockets in Israel, but we have a system here of air defense that, first of all, Israel somehow can they know when a rocket is or a missile is launched all the way from Iran. I mean, they also know when it's from Yemen with the Houthis, and also from Hezbollah. Well, actually, maybe less Hezbollah. I'm not sure about that, but for sure from Iran and from Yemen, we will get an alert on our phone, and then at that point, within the next 10 minutes, you may hear sirens in your area. So you have several layers of defense that warn you to get to a shelter in time. And also for Jerusalem, I think we've only had two today, and so it was a relatively peaceful day. But very like interesting is this peace or this calm that we feel really belies the circumstances of this region. Now, what you're looking at, the videos that you're looking at are of what's happening in Iran. So whatever is happening here is really nothing compared to what the U.S. and Israel have unleashed on Iran. I think, as far as as far as what Israel is saying, it's been an extremely effective campaign in taking out or reducing the ability to launch missiles. They also, I'm sure you have all heard, this is already a couple days old from Saturday, that they managed to kill the supreme leader of Iran, the Ayatollah Khamenei, who was in a meeting with around 40 of the leaders of the country. And that was probably done within the first few minutes of this campaign opening up. And this has been something that they have talked about for weeks now, since around January 8th, when President Trump said that he was going to that he said the regime better not execute any of the protesters, and they better not go out and kill them. There's going to be a price to pay. And then it took about 7 weeks until the U.S. military amassed all of their assets in the region. And of course, Israel was ready. It's just coming out today in the news, and I haven't read the full story, but just the details of this campaign. Israel's been tracking the Ayatollah for years. They have been apparently using even traffic cameras in the area in Tehran, outside where he meets, outside his compound, just to be able to understand like the security detail, the timing, of what where they park, when are the meetings, and then they. On Saturday morning, another thing that was said was that they launched on Saturday morning, because the morning was more of a surprise, let's say, than usually it's done at night. So anyway, we're just hearing all of that now. Now, of course, what is going to we should talk about also the fact that this is not just limited to Iran and Israel. I think what makes this different, of course, I mean, the US is involved, but the US mainland is probably not going to be touched in this particular war. But what is different for us here in the Middle East is that suddenly it's not just between Iran and its proxies and Israel. It's between Iran and all of the Middle East. I mean, there are so many countries involved right now. And I think one of the reasons that I feel like we're absorbing fewer hits here in Israel specifically is that the UAE is getting hit a lot. I think they had something like 500 missiles, or is it 500 drones? I'd have to check that. Sorry, but they've had a significant number of drones and missiles fired at them. They're much closer to Iran, also Bahrain, also Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, Kuwait. And that video that I was telling you about, or the American pilot that ejected, that landed in Kuwait. I sent you here it is. Yeah, I sent you, I just sent that while
Is
we were
this the
on. I
one
don't
where
know
the
if you can
gentleman
hear the
talks to
volume.
her? Is
This
this
is
the
the
one?
one, yes.
Can we hear it? Can we hear the audio?
No problem. Thank you for helping us. Everything perfect?
For her,
Can you-
there's a little bit more of that conversation. Do you want to go back and hear the conversation more,
Yeah,
Nicole?
sure.
You're
Sure.
fine? Really? You need something to help you? No problem, you're safe. You're safe, you're safe. Everything good? No problem. Thank you for helping us. Everything perfect?
We see that and we wonder if it's authentic or if it's IAI or if it's edited. Is this authentic as far as you know?
I wouldn't, as far as I know, it is. I can't say I verified it personally, but I've seen it in many reliable channels. So I can't believe it hasn't gotten to the US. I mean, since this is US military, but if this is the case, you heard what he said. This is a Kuwaiti man, presumably, who says thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested to know what is going on in the minds of the Iranians who are attacking all of these countries around right now. Like, for instance, Qatar. I listened to a press conference with a spokesperson in Qatar from the foreign ministry, and he was saying that it is not true that we were warned in advance about these attacks. Iran, the foreign minister of Iran is saying that they warned us in advance or there was coordination. There was no coordination. And Qatar actually shot down 2 Iranian jets that were heading toward Doha. Now, another interesting thing, Qatar said that, there's Tucker Carlson has been saying that Mossad is on the ground in Saudi Arabia and Qatar to go and bomb places. And this spokesperson in the press conference in Qatar said that is I know nothing of Mossad agents on the ground in our country doing anything like that. So anyway, he flatly denied what Tucker Carlson has said. Here's another thing. Iran is attacking oil fields and energy facilities in Saudi Arabia, and I think Oman as well, and Qatar. And a lot of people believe that that is in a way to put financial strain and pressure on these countries so that they will in turn pressure the US to back off and to stop fighting. Now, so far that hasn't worked. In fact, Saudi Arabia looks like it's getting very close to joining the fighting. The one thing I haven't been able to understand is that none of these countries have retaliated yet, because the UAE is getting hit in civilian centers. Like that's another thing that they've all been saying, is that it's not just attacks on American military assets. It's also, it's killing civilians, and they're on commercial and civilian places as well as US military assets. So it looks like Saudi Arabia might step in, and maybe another country or two. But then we're talking, and I didn't even get to Lebanon yet, because just the other night.
We've got to go to a break,
Yes.
so hold on Lebanon.
Okay.
Just the other night, hold that thought. We'll be right back with Nicole Jancezian talking about Israel from the inside, looking at Iran. I need to tell you about our Bella Grace. The slender little sachet has the elixir with the collagen, astaxanthin, and cat's claw. In 2022, got an award for helping with cognitive function, and in 2023 in the sports arena for active ingredients, nutrition, and format. But the best is what we hear from so many of you. You have noticed better joint health, improved mobility, less eye strain and fatigue, helping with computer vision syndrome, visual acuity, depth perception, alleviating dry eyes, but also helping with your immunity, your stress management, endurance, less fatigue overall, not just eye fatigue, muscle recovery, mental clarity, focus, and gut health. Then there's the fun list. The firmer, smoother skin texture, fewer fine lines and wrinkles, improved skin elasticity, decreased age spots, more even skin tone, improved skin hydration, reduced oxidative stress, healthier nails, less cellulite, hair health, better sleep. Who wouldn't want any of those? Call them beauty items if you wish, but who doesn't want to feel a little bit better or more confident when you're going to present in the public square, when you're going to speak at a city council? And who just doesn't want to feel a little healthier? Maybe they're just byproducts of being healthier. More information at tamara.bellagraceglobal.com, tamara.bellagraceglobal.com. All right, everybody, thanks for staying with us. We're going to hop right back to Nicole Jancizian. So much for her to share. Nicole, welcome back to the Tamara Scott Show.
Thank you so much.
So Lebanon the other night.
Yes. So just not this previous night, the one before, we woke up to knowledge that Hezbollah has joined the fray, which is something that we were expecting. Weren't sure that we were surprised they didn't do it right away. And then they got involved, launched a few missiles, and that basically just broke the ceasefire. Israel said, "Oh, you broke the ceasefire. Now we have carte blanche." Same with the U.S. said, "Okay, now that Hezbollah has done this, Israel can do what it wants." And ever since then, Israel has been pounding Lebanon, not just southern Lebanon, where Hezbollah is located, but also the neighborhood in Beirut, where they have headquarters, other areas of the country. And now this is really pressuring the nation of Lebanon to do what they agreed to do, actually, in their parliament, I think a couple months ago, where they agreed that they would disarm, they would take responsibility for demilitarizing Hezbollah, which is an Iranian proxy, actually more so now. It's kind of its own entity as well. But they just joined, and they are now launching missiles also at Israel. Israel has called up over 100,000 reservists. I mean, no sooner had we had a ceasefire back in October and everything had calmed down, and now everybody's back at it. We have restrictions in the country. There's no school, there's no work. Today is the Purim holiday, which very ironically is the story of Queen Esther and the, salvation of the Jewish people from Haman in Persia. So it's very ironic that it happens to fall today, or a coincidental, I guess.
Thomas,
Sorry.
I sent Thomas a photo, just a little meme on. There you go. Look at that.
Oh yes.
Look at that.
Yeah.
With the name Haman. I love these people who are creative like this, but Haman is coming through, and we yesterday had our guest talking about God's repeating of the cycle when God delivers us. So I'm going to pop that up there, and we'll just go on. I don't want to take time out of your talk, but I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going around here, and also the dessert associated with this holiday is Haman's ears. So it's taken on a whole new meaning here for Israelis. So another thing that I think we should talk about is just the possibility that this really could become a larger regional war, and we're not really sure where this escalates to. Both Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump have said that they are hoping to clear the ground in Iran to for regime change and to give the Iranian people the ability to rise up and to install the government that they're looking for. Now, I have to say that many people in the region are hesitant about that, like not just Israelis, but a lot of people here. Regime change in the Middle East tends to have very drastic consequences. I mean, look at Syria, look at Iraq, look at Libya. But there are many groups and people who are wanting to fill that void, should this void occur. Actually, I mean, just because the Ayatollah was killed doesn't mean that there isn't some kind of leadership now. I heard an analyst yesterday, an Israeli analyst who studies Iran. She said the Islamic regime isn't just a person, it's a system. And the system has a way of filling itself or replacing itself. So she said it's not so simple as regime change. It's a country of 90 plus million people, and we can't know what everybody is working for. What kind of unity can you get in such a vast country? I also did hear an expat Iranian the other day who said that there is widespread support for the Crown Prince Pahlavi to come back and to take over and to lead a transitional government. I also just wrote an article about another group that is trying to take that place. In fact, the leader of this group, Mariam Rajavi, just declared herself the head of a transitional government. But in researching that organization, it doesn't look like it would be an ideal replacement for a totalitarian regime. It looks like maybe more of the same. So now, with all of this going on, we've heard estimates of this. It could be a couple days. People are, the U.S. and Israel both saying that they have destroyed a lot in the country, and so it looks like things could wind down. However, President Trump just said this could be a couple of weeks. It could be 5 weeks, something like that. So I have no idea how long this goes. I do know that yesterday, the U.S. State Department put out a call for its citizens in 14 countries to leave. So 14 countries, including Israel, and all over the Middle East, Lebanon, Egypt, which hasn't even been involved yet. Egypt hasn't even been mentioned or bombed or anything. Like even Lebanon and Jordan is getting hit. Iraq's getting hit. Even Syria had like a missile that landed in its territory. But all of those countries are included, including Egypt. So I don't know if there's more to this than I can even tell you from the headlines. If it's something that needs to be heeded and we all need to evacuate, I don't know. And I also don't know how long this is really going to last. But that is basically the situation up to this point.
That is a pretty thorough report. Thank you very much. You squeezed quite a bit in our time together. And so when you see citizens leaving, when we call our citizens out, what do you do? Do you have somewhere you can go?
Sure. I mean, we can leave. The problem is that we don't know how. The leaving is very limited. There's only right now through Egypt. So you have to get to the Egyptian border, which is about 4 hours from Jerusalem. And then from there, you either go to the closer airport in Taba, or you have to go to Cairo, which is like hours away. So it's I'm really not sure if that's a great option. And anyway, our U.S. passports are in the mail. So.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
All right. Very quickly, did Tel Aviv, did they get hit? I think I saw a report where they got hit.
Okay, so there was a hit today, and I didn't see that there was right now. There were sirens, but I didn't see that there was a hit right now.
Okay. And the other, I'm hearing that Israel is stopping some of these rocket strikes by laser, that it's incredible technology.
Yes, the I think it's the David Sling, I think it's called, is getting put to use for the first time now with the missiles that are coming from Hezbollah.
And they said it was about $3 a pop, which, because I know when you would deploy like the Iron Dome, it was very expensive to intercept what they would call the dirty bombs coming in. Didn't cost them much to make them, as they put shrapnel and broken metal and glass and nails and, you know, all this in the bombs. Cost more for Israel to stop them. But this sounds like this might be very economical and incredibly high tech for Israel to be able to stop them with a laser. So that is happening. That's wow.
Yeah, that has just happened in the last couple days.
Good. It's amazing. The technology, the intelligence that Israel, we hear gripes about America giving Israel, you know, aid. And I told you when I was there in 2014 or 15 with Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul, some of the ministry leaders wanted to meet with him, and we ended up having a meeting. And they were concerned about him not giving aid. And he said, you will be the last country I withdraw aid from, but America can't continue taking debt to give money away to other countries. And then we talked about the good that we get when we give or work with Israel, what comes back in the way of innovation, creation, intelligence. So there's a proof of it right there. All right, closing remarks.
Wow, just keep watching and checking. I mean, the situation, it takes me about 2 hours a day to read all the news updates. Like, and that's not even counting that we have the TV on all day long in the background. There's so many details, there's so much going on, and the entire region is dragged into this, the entire region. So I would say just keep your eyes on this area.
Absolutely, and keep your eyes on our Maker, our Keeper, the one who is our help, Psalms 121. We will keep you in our prayers, Nicole. Thank you so much for being so faithful to keep us up to date on what is happening, from your eyes on Israel with your feet on the ground in Jerusalem. We will be praying for your safety. Lord, keep you. Lord, expedite those passports if that's what the way is out. So we will just keep you in our prayers. Thanks for joining us, Nicole. Blessing.
Thank you.
Can't imagine all. I mean, think about it. We don't comprehend this in this country. I know we just can't. We'll be right back. Joe Connors, who's had people on the inside in Iran for quite some time ministering. Borders closed, open hearts in Iran. Growing Christian population. We'll get his perspective on this as well. Stay tuned.
Do you like drinking toxins that could cause cancer, inflammation, and all kinds of other autoimmune diseases? Of course you don't. Well, much of our water in America is full of toxins. That's a proven fact. WorldviewWater.net. WorldviewWater.net is your solution so that you can drink good, clean water. In fact, I give it to all my 3 fur babies, all my 3 dogs. I have one under my kitchen sink, one of these filters, as well as on my shower. WorldviewWater.net.
This is our new NutraSwish, Numi NutraSwish. You can find more information at Numi, neumi.com/TTSS, neumi.com/TTSS. One of the products we offer, because you all have different preferences and respond differently to different items. So this is our lavender. It's for ladies anywhere along your journey. No hormones in it, but if you're taking a hormonal supplement, you might want to check with your doctor. The blue is for anyone over the age of 18. It has glutathione, which is a antioxidant, helps with over 400 cellular functions, and it helps detox heavy metals, forever chemicals, graphene oxide, one of those terms we learned after 2020, and it helps detox glyphosate. The good glutathione helps detox glyphosate. Glyphosate is found in ag chemicals or lawn chemicals, and some are very concerned about possible links to cancers, HPVs, and diabetes. But the blue bottle, the glutathione, helps detox heavy metals, forever chemicals, graphene oxide, and glyphosate. Then there's the mango-colored bottle you see on your screen. Numi Neuro helps with your mind, your memory, and your focus. Now, again, after 2020, we heard something about brain fog, a term we'd not heard before. Whether it's from a virus or a vaccine, many have found relief, a little help with Numi Neuro, the mango colored bottle. When used with the blue bottle, it is so positive that the American Brain Council wrote about it and it looked like an endorsement. Though we're told they don't write endorsements, it was simply a positive review of what they saw. You can find more information at neumi.com/TTSS. neumi.com/TTSS for the Tamara Scott Show. Why? Because we want you feeling your best. And when you use that TTSS link, you help us be our best. Next is Joe Connors, Elam Ministries. Joe, welcome to the Tamara Scott Show.
Hey, nice to be with you again.
You are so kind. God is so good. Joe kindly texted me today and said, do you need help? Because we didn't think we could schedule you when we first talked a while ago, a couple days ago. And so he very kindly just said, I think I can make it work. I said, I think we're covered. And then our guest who is going to join us really does need to attend to something that's happening within our states. And this allowed him to step away and do that. And so thank you, Joe. It's just God's timing. You just happened to text me and I was able to text you back. I so appreciate your kindness and willing to do that and God's provision for this show. Joe, tell our viewers your title with Elam.
Yeah, so I'm the Director of Partner Relations and Development with Elam. But that means I'm sharing the story with the people around the globe. I'm working with our partners, but I also get to work quite closely with people in the Iran region and people on the ground. So I'm kind of the bridge between two worlds. But really, they're one world. When you see partners work together, it's a really beautiful thing, even in the midst of all the chaos that we're seeing.
Yeah, and I know we talked to you a few weeks ago, and we didn't know, we were not sure of the numbers who had been killed by their own government in Iran.
Yeah.
You were the one who said at least 30,000. We were just so heartbroken and stunned. It was 12 was the last we had heard, 12,000, 15,000. Now we're hearing numbers as high as 50,000. Is the 50,000 including those who are imprisoned, or is that those who were killed by this ruthless regime?
Yeah, no, we're saying it's impossible to know for sure from where we're at, but we're pretty confident just from the massacres, it's 40 to 80,000, and we know that there's been a few executions following and people were arrested, and these are stories from on the ground from people we know and we work with, but estimates now are 40 to 80,000, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was closer to 80.
You had that information. I am sure our State Department had that information, and this could be why they chose to act. I'm hearing that 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 or 27% of Americans are supportive of this action we just took in Iran. And I'm catching myself. Sorry. I'm telling people, other people have said it, not myself. This is not an act of war. Clay Higgins said this is a provoked response to what took place in 1979 and their bad behavior all the way through so many decades with their terrorist acts. Others have, we went through yesterday the dates of the terrorist acts, whether it was Beirut, whether it's the Marines, the barracks. I mean, all of these, they just continue. So another individual from, I don't know where she's from, but she's Iranian, and she said, this is not an act of war, this is a rescue mission, the humanitarian mission. Thought that was an interesting perspective and probably the most accurate.
One of the ways we've tried to say it to people, because I was with a bunch of Iranians this past week and I spent a whole week with them, and it's mixed emotions. I would just say we can't lump all Iranians into the same boat, just the same way we can't Americans. But what we're trying to tell our people is it's a war on the Islamic Republic of Iran, not the people of Iran. But we don't know that. I mean, I don't know why the final reason was the Trump administration decided to invade. But what I will say is I have friends, people I know, people I'm close to, who were born and raised in Iran. And every morning they used to go to school and they would say their morning prayers and then they would chant death to America and death to Israel. So when you've been chanting every day for 47 years, death to America and death to Israel, it's kind of only a matter of time before they're not gonna allow that anymore. So I'm not saying what's right and wrong, but it wasn't like the Iranians weren't looking for a fight.
Right. Absolutely. And this president, first term, did so.
What if millions around the world could access Bible teaching and worldview training for free right now without hitting a paywall? That's exactly what happens every day at worldviewtube.com because of the Worldview Weekend Foundation. We don't lock our live stream behind PayPal. We don't restrict our content to members only. Instead, the Worldview Weekend Foundation helps cover the cost of delivering free educational and ministry programming to people across the nation and around the world. And it's not just programming. My Sunday night church service, where I taught verse by verse through Revelation for 18 months, and now I am teaching through the book of Daniel, is made possible through the support of our church, Worldview Weekend Foundation. If you believe this kind of truth-centered biblical teaching must continue, donate today. Go now to worldviewfoundation.com. You'll also find our mailing address and phone number there if you'd rather give by phone or mail. That's worldviewfoundation.com. Thank you. We have a big announcement, folks. It's called Bella Melt. In the first week, you lost 3 pounds on this, right?
That is correct.
Your GLP-1 is a natural hormone that's in every single one of our bodies. And your GLP-1 lets you know if you're full. It's a satiety hormone. So when your GLP is working properly, it does help suppress your appetite as well as reduce those cravings. So what it's going to do best is it's going to reduce your sugar cravings or any other cravings you have in your body. It's going to suppress that appetite. But where Melissa got the most benefit, I think, over the last week was the L-carnitine. The L-carnitine tells your mitochondria, this is where you make, we talked about it before, this is where you produce energy in your cells. It actually tells those mitochondria to burn fat for fuel.
MelissaHouseBG.com just now introducing for the first time Bella Melt with GLP-1 Fast Action.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. WorldviewTube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the WorldviewTube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the WorldviewTube app icon. Select the tab, and here you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the WorldviewTube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
All right, so it's always fun. I call them techno demons, but sometimes it's human frailty. I don't know if it was the computer that there's a port. I don't know, but we're back. Joe, thanks. You've bailed us out twice today. All right, so I'm just going to turn it back to you. What are you hearing? You've got the feet on the ground in Iran. You've got the connections with Iran. Is it true that the largest growing Christian church is in Iran?
Yeah,
Underground?
what I will say to you is quite interesting. So the church in Iran has been growing really fast in the last couple of decades. It's impossible to which is the fastest growing church in the world, but Iran is definitely up there. What I will say in the past year, the church in Iran has always gone through persecution. There's a lot of persecution that's happening. I have friends that have been in prison for their faith. We've got people in prison right now. So even amidst all these bombings, there's people still in prison and, you know, that kind of thing. But there's been persecution. There's been international conflict. There's been an economic crisis. The economy in Iran was hyperinflation. It was very bad. Then we had these massacres in January. And what we've seen through all of that is that the church didn't wither away. It actually grew, it actually flourished. We saw more open hearts in Iran than I've seen in almost 10 years of working with Elam. so many people of Iran were open to the gospel. What happened after those massacres was that the people of Iran, the vast majority of them were done with the Islamic regime. They were done with the government. Now there are still the hardliners in Iran. I'm not going to deny that there are people that still really believe in this. But what we heard and what we saw from normal people on the ground was that they were looking for hope, and many of them found it in the church, in the house churches, by reading the scriptures. Many people wanted to read the stories of Jesus out of the gospel. So we actually saw, despite the hardship, despite the real suffering and real trauma that people went through, that the church was incredible. It was like like stars shining in the darkness. When the night is darker, the stars shine brighter. That's what we've seen in Iran. I haven't heard from anybody inside. I've heard from one person in the country since Saturday morning. So I don't know what is currently happening on the ground with those people, but I am believing that we will be hearing more of the same stories when we get communication again. In the midst of the chaos and the bombings and the hardships, I know that the church will be doing amazing work there.
All right. So, Thomas, do I need to go to a break? Okay, we can keep going. All right.
Right.
And so we just have to have a hard out by 55, 12:55. So, all right. Tell us what else should we as Americans, one, obviously prayer. How can we pray? What should we be praying? Um, I have to tell you, Joe, I was disappointed with my own church and the way they handled it or didn't handle it Sunday. When I see the video, and I should have had it today, of people singing Waymaker in Farsi,
Yeah, yeah,
the celebration, I was like, why can't we just
yeah,
join them in a song of Waymaker?
yeah,
Why can't we celebrate the good that has come out of this? The Christians who won't be killed. I know there's unrest. I know there's uncertainty. We don't know if it's going to escalate. We don't know. We don't know, but I believe this was a precision mission handled incredibly by the US and Israel. And 3 lives lost in America, and that's tragic, and yet could have been so much worse. Just
yeah.
so give us your thoughts on this.
My thoughts is that I am glad I'm part of a church that is building a different kingdom. Empires are going to rise and fall, and I do not like the way the Iranian government treats its people. It's absolutely horrific. I live in America. I'm so grateful for the freedoms that we have in this nation and the opportunities. But at the end of the day, I believe that the church, Jesus living and working through the church, can give only the real hope that people need. We've actually, this past year, Tamara, it's been beautiful. The church in Iran has been helping those with disabilities, those with special needs. It's something that in Iran, it's a shameful thing. That Islam in Iran teaches that it's a very shameful. It's because of sin that you have a child with special needs or disabilities. And the church has impacted a lot of people this past year inside Iran. And so what we're saying is, whoever rules in Iran, a disabled child that can't walk still needs a wheelchair.
Yeah.
A marriage that is struggling through divorce still needs healing. And so we want to reach the regular people with the love and hope of Jesus, and we'll leave the politicians to decide the politics. I don't know what the outcome of this will be, whether there'll be civil war, whether there'll be a power vacuum. But I am convinced that the church in Iran will be spreading love and hope to people. And I have seen with my own eyes thousands of people who have come to Christ and they say, Jesus Christ transformed my life and he can transform yours. That is all over Iran in amazing ways. And we actually in the West have something to learn from that. These Iranian people are really willing to risk everything because they believe in Jesus. And so I love that. Now, there is a lot of pain and suffering. We don't want to just, war is a horrible thing, whether the ultimate end is a good thing. There's still people who are losing lives, innocent people are losing friends and family. So we pray for those people as well. But ultimately, I am hoping that the church continues to shine in Iran right now. And it's just regular people. They're never going to be famous. They're never going to be on stage in front of thousands of people. They're just regular people going serving the poor and the broken.
In a country where I think there's risks, if they would.
There's still risk. Yeah, there's still people that have been arrested recently for faith. You know, Christians were linked to Zionism and they were linked to the protests and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's still a lot of risk. That's why I can't go into too many details because there's still high risk for Christians in Iran.
Which is, as you say, a lesson for us in the West. I mean, we'll talk about Nigeria this week as well,
Yeah,
and the fact that people will have a massacre in their church, they will go and clean up the blood of their loved ones and be back in next Sunday.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm guilty. My friends, in America, we're guilty of not. Churches helped it with the COVID whole thing on internet, but it is not always our obedience and our strength to get ourselves to church anymore. And so the lessons we could take from some of these folks. All right. So in the last 3-4 minutes we have, what more do you want us to think about? There's just so much happening. It's happening so quickly.
Yeah, I would just say we really believe prayer makes a difference. I don't understand the theology of prayer, but I know when a lot of prayer goes up, things change and it changes our hearts as well. So as we start to pray for the Middle East, and there's lots of people involved, like we said, it's not just Iran, pray for the leaders of America and Israel and these other nations. But as I know, when I pray and I come before the Lord, it changes me as well. And so we really are encouraging people to pray. You can go to our website, elam.com, and you can find out ways to pray and support the church on the ground. And so at this time, we are preparing ourselves for a lot of relief work that is going to be needed. There's going to be a lot of relief work. There's going to be a lot of opportunity. And depending on how this all goes and what opens politically, we think this could be the greatest opportunity, not just for the church in Iran, but we have started seeing it boil over into other countries. I've seen the Iranian church minister to other people from different nations and backgrounds. So when I go to a country and I say, "Hi, I'm Joe, I'm a Christian," they're like, "Oh, nice to meet you." But when Iranians go and they say, "Hey, my name is Hamid, I was a Muslim and now I'm a Christian," it changes something. They can do something we can't do. So please pray for the church. Go to elam.com if you're looking for ways to pray and support. And then just, yeah, as you pray, the whole thing's a mess. The whole thing's a mess. I have no hope for this world other than Jesus. But when people serve and do what's right, there's a lot of good that can come in the world.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely correct. Our hope is in Jesus. There's nothing else, which is why we have to continue to speak the truth. And so for those folks out there, there's a lot of discussion, end times, how this fits in the end times. We talked about the significance of Purim being right around this time. Others, one of my friends doing a Bible study said that she had just come across that it's very possible that Esther was related to, was it Saul? And Saul did not take out Agag, who Haman was related to. And so
Okay.
here you have generations later, the same battle. And we're all studying this a little bit more and getting into this, but a lesson for all of us, right? As much as we may hate to think that this action was necessary, that, whether you support what Trump's administration did or not, if you don't handle some of these things, they only grow worse. The lives that were being lost in Iran just since the beginning of this year, as you say, 40 to 80,000. For no reason, Joe. They hadn't done anything. There wasn't, we were calling it a war, but it was a spiritual war, probably more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'll leave the end times and Bible stuff up to scholars and pastors, but what I know is that a lot of people suffered, and I
Yeah.
know that Jesus brings healing today.
Yep.
That's what I know, and
Yep.
that's what I've seen. So that's what we're going to focus on, and what will be will be. And I'm sure when we get to heaven, we'll realize we were all wrong a little bit and we were
Right.
all right at the same
I
time. So
know. Absolutely. I'm glad you said that because I
yeah,
myself am pretty timid around this. I trusted
yeah.
Dr. David Noble, who always used to say, I'm pan-trib. Everybody gets into their pre-trib, post-trib. He goes, I'm pan-trib. That means I'm on the first flight out of here and it will all pan out, right? Our hope is in Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less. Jesus Christ. And so
Amen.
no matter what you think of these, I guess this is where I was headed. So thank you for redirecting me. Well, no
Yeah.
matter what you think of all these situations and the call or the action, if you're this concerned about it, witnessing to your neighbors,
Yes.
witnessing to your family, speaking the truth of the word in love, not a clanging cymbal, in love, then that is the best we can do for our neighbors, no matter what country they live, the borders they have, the regime that they're under. That's the best thing that we can do until we can correct it here in man's ways, until God sends his son, Jesus Christ, back.
Amen. You're preaching, Tamara.
All right, Joe, I thank you for stepping in today. I've
Yeah.
been following your ministry for, gosh, decades, interviewing Dan and Carmen, and
Yeah.
thank you for your perseverance. I don't know what it feels like to see the fruit of your labor. I mean, don't you think in some ways you're seeing the fruit of your labor?
We're seeing Jesus has put his hand on this nation in a significant way, and the people are coming. It's the fruit of the people on the ground. I want to emphasize it's the people on the ground that are serving the Lord and doing the work, and we're just trying to support them. But yes, we hold suffering and disappointment in one hand, and we hold hopeful expectation in Christ in the other, and somehow they come together. The suffering and the hope is one in Iran. And I think that's a reminder for us in our own lives. You know, sometimes we run away from suffering and sometimes the Lord's in the midst of it. So I would just encourage people, don't feel bad if you're suffering today, because sometimes in that place is where Jesus can really meet you.
Well said, Joe. Elam.com, that's the best way for people to find you.
Elam.com. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you and connect with you.
Thank you for joining us today. My thanks to Nicole as well. To everybody, we tell you to live boldly, love better, laugh bigger, be encouraged, and never be complacent.